Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. At that time, one of the 12, whose name was Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What will you give me if I deliver him over to you?" And they paid him 30 pieces of silver. And from that moment he sought an opportunity to betray him. Now, on the first day of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying, "Where would you have us prepare for you to eat the Passover?" Jesus said, "Go into the city to a certain man and say to him, 'The teacher says, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at your house with my disciples.'" And the disciples did as Jesus had directed them, and they prepared the Passover. When it was evening, he reclined at table with the 12. And as they were eating, he said, "Truly I say to you, one of you will betray me." And they were very sorrowful and began to say to him one after another, "Is it I, Lord?" He answered, "He who has dipped his hand in the dish with me will betray me. The Son of Man goes as it is written of him, but woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been better for that man if he had not been born." Judas, who would betray him, answered, "Is it I, Rabbi?" Jesus said to him, "You have said so." The Gospel of the Lord. Though it's not listed that way in the lectionary, today is known as Spy Wednesday. In the Czech Republic, it's known as Ugly Wednesday. In Germany as Crooked Wednesday. In Malta as the Wednesday of Shadows. Because Judas, one of Jesus' closest companions, betrays him, promising to hand Jesus over to the high priest for 30 pieces of silver. It is the event that starts the whole story of the Triduum rolling. Up until now, we feel the tension in the Gospels about the growing antagonism toward Jesus. And we're not sure where it's going to go, just looking at the Gospels. It could go either way. Perhaps the crowds that welcome Jesus into the city will be able to usher him out of the city. Or perhaps he can slip away, as he did so many other times in the Gospel when he was cornered. But with the action of Judas, the die is cast. The passion will happen. In fact, with today's gospel, we can say that the passion has already begun. When Jesus and Judas both dipped their hands in the bowl at the same moment, the first of Jesus' many wounds to the heart happens. The moment he realizes that one of his closest friends has turned on him. We will never really know why Judas did so. Was it for the 30 pieces of silver? I'm not so sure it was for that. Was it disappointment that Jesus was not the Messiah that Judas had been expecting? Or did Judas think that by handing Jesus over, that would provoke Jesus into action and show who he really was? We don't know. Hundreds of poems and songs, books, paintings, and even movies have theorized about the motive of Judas, but it remains a mystery. Perhaps this betrayal, this suffering, this first wound of the passion of Jesus, the betrayal, perhaps this was the greatest of his sufferings. Betrayal is one of the most powerful things and one of the most painful things that a human being can experience in life. Some of you, many of us in our lives have experienced betrayal by unfaithful spouses or siblings who broke our own confidences, or friends that didn't have our back, didn't protect us in the way that we thought they would. Betrayal is hard to bounce back from. It can be traumatic and very hard to forgive. Because betrayal, by definition, takes place with someone you trust. Trust is the very first thing we need to acquire as infants, as children, in order to make it through the rest of life. Okay? Trust undergirds everything else. And the loss of that trust upends everything. It makes you wonder what else we might have to worry about. Who else we might not know like we thought we knew. And the more you trusted the person who betrays you, the greater the pain and the greater the internal chaos that is caused by that betrayal. Which brings us back to Jesus, with his hands in the bowl bumping into the fingers of Judas. We don't know a lot about the relationship between Jesus and Judas from the scriptures. We don't know why he was called to be an apostle, how he called him. In the Gospel of John, it says that Judas was the treasurer of this close-knit group. So Jesus trusted him with the group's money. But certainly the relationship was even much more than that. They had prayed together, eaten together regularly, traveled together. You know how it is when you travel with someone. They see you in the morning before you had your coffee. Without a doubt, Judas and Jesus had laughed together, bathed in the river together, lit campfires together, slept next to one another around the campfire, knew one another's families, toasted together at many tables. Imagine what surges through Jesus' body, through his heart, when the fingers that had grasped that 30 pieces of silver touch against his in the bowl. One last time. And the words Jesus spoke next were very harsh. It would be better for that man if he had never been born. The words of someone who sounds very hurt. Perhaps you or I have said the same thing, or similar words, when we felt betrayed. I wonder, from where he sits now, would Jesus still say these words? Or would you and I say the words that we said when we were betrayed? The thing I love about Holy Week is that each year, in a world that would like us to ignore all our pain and distract us from everything that makes us uncomfortable, we are forced to slow down and look hard at the human condition and the evils that we do to one another, starting with the very human reality of betrayal. This Holy Week, this year, we are busy trying hard to return to something called normal after the pandemic. And it would be easy to forget the story of Christ's passion and begin coloring the eggs already, preparing for Easter. But let us challenge ourselves today for a moment to sit with the wounds of Jesus, beginning with the wound of betrayal. There's nothing we go through as humans that Jesus himself has not experienced. No physical pain, but also no emotional pain that Jesus did not first experience. And whatever we have been wounded by, Jesus was wounded as well. Do not run from that pain this week, but tell Jesus every bit of your pain and know that he will understand.